In the second Sikha of Breishis, which is Favengin of Parsha Shlach, Tavshin Lamed Hey, what's quite fascinating for me in this Sikha is how often the Rebbe gives a new pshat, and it's a deeper pshat, and it's a geschmack pshat. But over here, Pasha the Rebbe like changes pshat the way the Gemara is learned. In other words, there's no other way to learn it. The Rebbe kind of not disproves, but finds a lack in all the answers on the fact that when there's an eclipse of the sun and moon, it shows that it's a sign that we're sinning. And the Rebbe Pasha changes pshat. He changes pshat. What did he change it to? To the fact that no, it's already orchestrated within that time that we have a tendency, a propendency to go to a certain direction. And the question is, will you activate yourself? Will you challenge it, or will you work within it? The Rebbe shows it also in the Asay Toiv. There's times for learning. So that night was created specifically for learning, and you learn most of your chachma by night because it's a propendency. It's a zman's mesugel, and it's an important thing to understand because often we talk about mazalis of times and energies, and some people will sit there saying it has no basis. It's totally superstitious. On the other hand, we're very in tune with mazalos. I mean, think of small things like we don't make kiddush between 6 and 7. And so many other things that we do that are based on getting the right timing and getting the right energy. And there's a time to say Tehillim, and we don't say Tehillim by night, only Yom Kippur, etc. And Rosh Hashanah. There's a lot of things that affect Mazal. And what is Mazal saying? Mazal is not saying you will be. It doesn't mean that you're forced in that direction, but rather you're going to have an incredible amount of effort to circumvent or overcome your nature. That's why the Rebbe gives examples of when we go to court and when we don't go to court in the 3 weeks and Tisha B'Av. Gosh, I mean, the examples are numerous. And on the one hand, you could sit there saying, gosh, we're superstitious people. Or you'll sit there checking your horoscope all the time, which is total nonsense. We're not superstitious. We know the energy. And when ideal, we try to work within the energy. In other words, you try to make kiddush at the right time. You try not to go to court cases on certain times. And during the 3 weeks, you don't go on too many journeys, especially not in the 9 days. And in Aseres you make tshuva, you don't really make weddings, etc. Each thing with its zone, with its space. But at the same time, it doesn't define you. And when necessary, you could override it. Torah can override it. And that idea that the Rebbe says that it's a sign that the Jewish people are sinning, that doesn't mean that. He says the word, because as I was learning the whole Sikha, I was struggling with the words, for 4 things, the Chama has an eclipse. And over there at the end of Oy Zayin, the Rebbe explains, not because in reality you did something wrong, nor only because in this time is a propendency and will be pulled towards those 4 things, and there's a big chance that we will fail, and therefore the Ma'iris are loiki. And then the Rebbe finishes off, and that's really the punchline, that not only can we overcome our teva, but we can fix it. That we could literally recreate the reality, maschilin bebeis v'dalad, until a situation that we don't have to be worried about nature at all. We could totally override nature. And the Rebbe over there explains in Ois 40, each yid has both a tzaddik and a rasha has 2 neshamas. And one of the neshamas is chelik elika imay, like Igeres HaTshuva says. So even when you don't do what Hashem wants, you're l'mayla me'ateva. So you could literally activate yourself and live a life of hanhaga nisis l'mayla me'ateva. Mitzvah Hashem, we should see it in our lives. Amen.